Okay, folks, good evening. Let's get started with a little bit of painting on Wednesday evening and see where we go from there. I got to get rid of my modern art thing here that I was working on, and the old paint palette. I'm going to actually let this dry out. This one's definitely moldy smelling, so we're going to let this thing dry out. And this is back when I was doing the Byzantine, so Byzantine-like colors. So let's throw these things away, and we're going to air this out. And we're not going to use this paint palette. We're going to use it kind of as a spare if we have to. Nothing wrong with it, but the new one is officially better. For sure, for sure. Coffee makes the world go round. Anyhow, so yesterday, got some Huns painted. I was painting some Huns. Let's get this light in here. I added an extra light in here just so have a little bit more there for the show, and put this down, and that's what's a no painting light. So that actually works okay. Yeah. All right, let's open this thing up, and I suspect this will not smell moldy. Mr. Heller, welcome. I'm sorry, I assumed your gender. I don't think there's too many females named Jeremy. Just a guess. Good evening. If I drink coffee at night, I would never get to sleep. So I'm having a little bit, and I may have trouble. I won't have trouble sleeping, but I'll wake up like every 2 hours. I'll still get to sleep because, like yesterday, after I shut off, I basically went to bed, and I don't really have a problem with sleeping. It's just I'll stay awake or whatever. So the last night of Historicon, I wanted to actually have some coffee, and around maybe 3 or something like that. And they said, oh, well, we're out of iced coffee. And I'm like, they'd never run out of iced coffee in Florida. So I didn't have any caffeine that night. And the night I didn't have any caffeine, I woke up. We had to leave at like 5 in the morning. I woke up at 3:30 and couldn't go back to sleep. So, and I didn't think I had a lot of things to think about, but we didn't have to leave at 5. We needed to wake up at 5. We left at 5:30. I think that's what we did. I don't remember. Okay. The Hun guy here. We don't have much left on this guy. We have a shield, which of course is the part I'm looking forward to. And if you know anything about me, I'm not being facetious. I would like nothing better than entire army full of shields parading. And I did cheat a little bit. I did paint his little tufts on the horse. I went with black. I saw enough of them, and that's what I thought. It was like there's like yak hair or whatever, and it, like their standard, it's like black yak hair. So real original. That's why these guys went pillaging and looting things, because they didn't have anything other than yak hair. So we got a little bit of a mustache, a detail, and then on to his hat. And speaking of hat, let's turn this thing around so we can see a little bit better. I don't really usually wear hats, but I took a shower and there's no point in putting crap in my hair again and go to bed. Product. Not that I use that much, but still. Right. See if there's any of this stuff we could salvage. Because the wet palette doesn't keep it around forever. Actually, I think I probably left in the middle painting his face, so if these facial colors are still okay, which they may be, we need a new white. Kevin, welcome back. Kevin is almost always on here. I need to send you a merit badge. I get the design one first. You know, you can actually do that. There's a place, I don't know where it is, but there's a place where you can actually design merit badges. Like little patches, or I don't know what the hell you would wear, do with it, but just like they've got, what are those things called? Morale patches? Yeah, it was a merit badge. I think you can actually buy one that's like an asshole merit badge. It's got like an A on it with like wings or some shit like that. I thought it was pretty funny. Asshole merit badge. So all these horsemen are going to be Shangnu slash White Huns slash regular Huns. They're all going to be the same, all this light horse. I'm not making them specific for any of these. Because this core is going to have like 11 light horse. All right. So we're going to do dark fur, maybe a brown around that, and a light colored little cap at the top. So let's, this brown that's right here should work just fine. Let's mix some black into it. You know, Huns did ritual scarring on their faces. Okay, so that picture up there of Attila is reasonable. I just figured maybe somebody put up a fight that he wanted to have his way with somebody, and they put up a fight and scared and clawed him in the face. Ritual scarring. No thanks. Almost had like competition, who's uglier? I'm ugly. Oh yeah, I'll show you. I'll be uglier than you. Go ahead and put a hot shovel on my face. All right, let's actually grab a little bit of this tan, not white. Let's highlight this fur around them. I don't know much about these guys, and I actually have Attila Total War, and I've played very, very little. Maybe I'll be motivated to paint that, to play that a little bit. I'm not opposed to playing video games. I can't spend all day doing it. After about 30 minutes, I'm like, I'm out. Because you don't have anything to show for it. And you don't have anybody to show what you're doing. I mean, the coolest thing could happen in a video game, and nobody's there to see it. So I'm not necessarily opposed to it. But I'd rather hang out with you guys and do this. And at the end of the day, I'll have something to show for it. I didn't always think that way, but I do now. The more things you play, the less interested I am in playing something else. Uh-oh, we got some comments. Pete Rickson, welcome. Good evening or good morning here in Australia. Welcome. Recently joined following great work about the rule book Baron's War as a consequence of listening and watching you. Baron's War. Why does that sound familiar? Baron's War. Sounds like something that would involve Simon de Montfort, I would think. Looking forward to your Huns. Hope to get ideas for the Hun army I have in waiting. Absolutely right in your mindset on video games. Feel exactly the same way. I'm not opposed to them. They just don't. And I like going in there. I'm like, I wonder how they painted these guys. And I may agree or disagree, but either way, it's. Let me turn the fan off here. Either way, it's you can check a check mark off of something. Just like when you go and you're interested in seeing how something's painted, so you go and get the Osprey book. And after you get the Osprey book and realize that there aren't really that many useful pictures, you go, well, at least I got it because I can check the check mark off saying there's nothing I found out here that makes, you don't want to find out, for instance, that you're painting an army and they're supposed to wear like green shirts after you've painted the whole damn army. You'd rather find that out ahead of time. So honestly, Pinterest is a great source. Google image. 28, even though I don't do 28 millimeter, a lot of like the artisan designs and no, I can't think of, I don't know my 28 millimeter manufacturers. I can't think of who they are right now. But there's one that has a lot of different things painted and it gives you inspiration, of like, oh, those colors look together, or I wouldn't have put the red next to that blue on there. At least it gives you some ideas for, before you get carried away, you've painted the figure and you don't like the two colors sitting next to each other. Gives you ideas for like maybe palettes, different color palettes to use. God, I can't remember who that manufacturer is, but Gripping Beast. Gripping Beast has great stuff on there. And I don't ever plan on doing 28s, but it's inspirational, What is a Gripping Beast? Is that like, sounds like something from Dungeons and Dragons. Look out! There's a rust monster and a Gripping Beast. Baron War and Avalon Hill game. Yeah. You're absolutely right in your mindset. Well, I'm absolutely right in my mindset about a lot of things. That's what it's my mindset. No, man. I'm definitely opinionated, but this is a relaxing hobby. You should do this however you want to do it. I'm not here to, and I had conversations. You should base all your stuff in white. It doesn't work for me. I don't try to convince people of basing black. If you want to base in black, cool. If you don't, guess what? My life doesn't change. I'd be a terrible politician. I do not want to manipulate people. Just continue enjoying being the person that you are. I don't need to control you. I will set you free. There's already too many people in the world that want to control you. You guys don't need another one. But I'm not sure what that Baron's War is. I'm sure you'll let me know. But good, I'm glad I motivated people to... I don't mind motivating people to do things as long as not commit crimes. Thanks for that idea. We hit the bank yesterday. What? All good stuff. Yeah, we had a fellow from Australia that came to the Historicon, and he was a nice fellow, just like every Australian I've ever met. I've heard there's some people that aren't all nice in Australia. That's fine. They don't seem to allow those folks to leave. That'll work. You can keep them for your very own self. But Mr. Peter Bram, he came by and played in 2 of the tournaments. So he played 6 games, had a good time, won one of them. He's a tough opponent. He knows how to play. Gripping Beast is a novel by Margot Wadley. What's the plot? It seems like it'd be like Grendel or something like that, right? I'll be honest with you. I don't know shit about literature, and I'm proud of it. And it's not that I don't like to read. I just don't like to read, made up crap. When there's real things that happened. Okay, so this guy's got a javelin, and he also has where his little case is. So let's go ahead and do his case in a leather-like color. Yeah, I remember back in the day when we used to play Trivial Pursuit. Don't call me for literature or sports. Sports is one of the characters. Sports and leisure, I think, is what it is. I could handle the leisure. Sports, forget it. I don't know jack shit about sports. I'm the map guy. I'm the guy you call in for, what's the flag of this country? I used to know all those and all the capitals and shit like that. My dad, for my 7th birthday, gave me a globe. You know, the one that you could feel the mountains on it and stuff like that. I was always into maps, as was he. And I knew that thing backwards and forwards. And, you know, then the Soviet Union fell and all those countries got their freedom, and a couple countries in Africa have been shuffled around, and not too bad, but yeah. I'm the history and geography guy. Science, well, it depends. There's a lot of science I just don't find interesting. I can't be into everything. Jesus. I remember I was playing something, it was a geography question. This is a long time ago. I said, oh, I got this. It's a geography question. Piece of crap. Piece of cake. No, piece of crap. No, it was a piece of crap, the question I got. So in the geography category, I ended up getting, what's the national dish of Bangladesh? And I'm like, how in the four hells am I supposed to know that? How am I supposed to know that? I don't know what the hell. I don't cook. I didn't cook back then, and I haven't cooked since. How the hell am I supposed to know what the national dish of Bangladesh is? I don't know what the national dish of France is. Probably bread. Murder mystery involving Viking treasure. Okay. You mean treasure stolen by the Vikings? Just like Spanish treasure, just a little earlier. It belonged to the Vikings because they stole it from somebody else. Probably goat. And Bangladesh? Aren't they Buddhist? Or is Bangladesh Muslim? I don't know. As many flooding as they have, they should eat something that floats in water. That place has a major flooding problem. East Pakistan, as they used to call it. But I'm old school. I don't know what the new names for these places are. They rechanged all the names of the cities in India, and you know what that did? That made it that I'm not going to use them. I don't know what the new name for Chennai is. What Chennai is? Madras. I'm like, nah, I'm calling them the old names. Myanmar. That's dead to me. Are they Muslim? Okay, I thought. Okay, well that would make sense why they split into the two things. I'm not eating goat. I'd be just as happy being vegetarian. I like all my vegetables. I don't know about eating goat. Uh, Oh, and by the way, hello, Steve and Doug. Welcome. Welcome back, I should say. You guys are reliably on here. Audio entertainment. This guy's about done. So I need to experiment with trying to show you guys my computer screen so that, you know, when I'm talking about the stuff on my screen, I can actually show it to you. And I just need to just jump in and do it. Just like a couple of weeks ago when I had to go pick up my daughter, and I'm like, well, let me just keep it connected, and I'll just take my phone with me because, you know, I don't want to drive anywhere and not have a phone. That'd be the one time you break down. Not that I had far to go, but, you know, I kept you guys on for like 30 minutes, and then I came back on. Just need to practice doing stuff like that. Just to be more comfortable with it. I'm pretty comfortable doing the live sessions now. We did the live sessions from the hotel room where I connected and disconnected everything. And that worked really well. You know, in a foreign environment, meaning, you know, not at home. So just need to get a little more confidence doing that. And maybe we'll mess with that this weekend because I've got some references on Pinterest that I've got. There's a lot of stuff on Pinterest on the Huns. A lot. Like crazy amounts. And some may be inaccurate, but, you know, it's still inspiration. It's still inspiration. All right, so we were painting this little hat. And that was here. Looks like people really enjoy those walk around videos. I am happy to do more. As long as people are interested in what we do, we will have more. If you guys don't pay attention, then I'm like, well, if it's something I really don't want to do, I'm probably not going to do it. I have 3 or 4 videos where I talk about my armies and what figures I do and stuff like that, and do close-ups of them. They're a pain in the ass to make, those videos. They take a long time to put together, and a lot of people don't seem to watch them. So I'm like, well, let's not do them. You know, you don't want me to get burned out, so we'll just save that energy for something else that is a little bit more fun, more appealing. All right, that's the center that we want the hat to be. Let's see what color. I want a light color for the javelin, but I don't want it to be this yellowy one because it needs some difference in contrast. Maybe paratha, unleavened bread. Whatever happened to DBR? I remember you talking about it at one point. Well, I've never played DBR. I had, about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, made my own version of, or my modification to play Renaissance. And the whole reason behind it is I got into doing this DVA thing because I actually wanted to play Armati. And the reason I want to play Armati is because Armati allowed you to do Renaissance. And I wanted to play Renaissance because I wanted to build a Spanish Renaissance army. That was the whole point. That's kind of the backstory of why I got into 15s. So I played Armati, and I went to a show where they were supposedly were going to do it, and they stopped playing Armati, the group here in Florida. And I'm like, I kind of got left out to dry, and I'm like, well, what else is going on here? And I saw that they were running this little game called DBA, and the rest is history. But I actually showed up to play Armati because I wanted to play Renaissance Spanish. But so for years I've been wanting to do Renaissance Spanish, and I got lots of figures. The whole reason is, I want to paint my own people where they're at their pinnacle of power, right? I mean, it makes sense. So, and I've never gotten a chance to do that. So I decided taking some DBR elements and making it DBA. I didn't want to change the mechanics because at the time in 2009, I'd only been playing DBA for 5 years, and still was having issues with the mechanics, meaning the all the problems that we have with conforming and shit like that. So I put my heads together with a couple other people that I played with, and we kind of tried to do a soft version of DVR without changing anything in it in DVA, so we could easily go between systems and not get confused. Because at that time, I was still only playing a couple times a year. I didn't have a Mitch where we could play test things. So we ended up doing some play testing and talking about stuff over the phone, and made the mod for it, and decided to call it DVA RRR, Renaissance Reformation and Restoration, because it basically covered the whole RRR period, the whole 1500 to 1700. Now, to be honest, myself, I'm only really interested in the 1500s. Once you start getting into 30 Years War stuff, I'm not really interested in that. So it's very difficult to try to get something that works for all those periods. And we ended up doing something that I would call fun, but it was kind of subpar when you're trying to use a shoehorn and getting everything to work for the whole period. So I wasn't entirely happy, especially when I played a video game called Pike and Shot Campaigns. And Pike and Shot Campaigns is an excellent game, but basically every unit is one stand, so to speak. And that's what I would foresee going forward. You know, you're playing a tercio, it's one stand. You don't make it up with 4 different stands. But I came to the realization after 3.0 came out, and my experience with the 2.2 version of the Renaissance rules, that I don't think DBA is the engine for it. Meaning, there's a lot of things you have to put up with DBA that I wouldn't want to put up with if I was going to create a game from it. Mainly the conforming business. So I just kind of kicked it and said, you know what? Maybe I'll get around to doing it, maybe I won't, but that's going to keep me from building armies. And that's really what I need to do right now, because we're shooting videos and I want to bring more videos to you, and it's going to be really hard to do that if I'm not painting armies. So I just don't want to do it bad enough, and it would take a lot of effort. So there will not be a Renaissance version of that with 3.0 as the engine. Now, it did gain, DBA 3.0 did gain ties. So there's other things you could work in there with ties, but I don't see a system where you're going to have units, you're going to have figures that are different sizes, units that are different sizes. I mean, you could keep the 40 by 20 for most units, but if you've got a tercio, I mean, tercio's got to be like 80 inches wide by 60 deep, and a Swiss keel has got to be one unit that's probably 60 by 60 or something like that. So you're going to have different widths for it to look right. You want the units to look right. And it's going to be really hard to use 3.0 and have a unit that's 60 millimeter wide, another one that's 40, and interact correctly. So it's just a really big ask at this point. So you have figures now for the Reconquest? Yes. Yep. Yeah, I have the figures for the war in Italy too. I mean, I've got Renaissance Spanish, I've got French, French Catholic and Huguenots, the Dutch rebellion forces, Queen Elizabeth, and what else do I have? I feel like I got something else too. And I may or may never get around to it, and that's okay, you know. Which Hunnic army am I doing? Yes. I'm going to do them all. I'm going to do everything from Xiongnu. I'm not going to do Southern Xiongnu. Mitch already has a Southern Xiongnu army, and the reason I'm doing Xiongnu is because they fight his Huns. We're going to do some scenarios based on their wars, and with variable victory conditions, and they ought to be pretty cool. But I got to get these guys done. And And the white Huns, of course. I've got to paint an elephant. I got to be able to call them the white Huns. That was the whole point in doing them. So the core of Light Horse will be the same for all of them. I'm not making Shungnu Light Horse and then Hunt and then Attila's Light Horse. They're all going to be the same ones. So I may make the commanders different. In other words, I may make a cavalry stand for Attila, a cavalry command for Attila, and then a different one for the Shungnu. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I haven't thought that far in advance, but at this point we're going to build the Shungnu list first and then add the elements for the white Huns. That's the direction we're going to proceed in. So anyways, I don't want to work on something unless I can make it awesome. I just don't have the time or inclination to do that right now. That's going to keep me from painting. And if you know, army working on the game is not stress relieving. It's stress inducing. So need to wait for good old recession to come out. That's when I worked on the other rules. The other rules were I worked on them in 2009 when there was a big slowdown at work, big time. So, you know, you'd come home from work and you weren't exhausted. So, I don't want to do it and it be half-assing. So, looking forward to seeing an elephant with 10 halberdiers, where you're not going to see it here. I'm not putting 10 guys on it. First of all, the pack only has 8, and I'm probably only going to put 4 of them on foot. I got some ideas for that. And that will be, I got a lot of Huns to paint before I get to the elephant. I got to earn it. But I'm not putting 10 of them on there. I think 4. 4 is crowded enough. It can't be more crowded than the litter. Can't be more crowded than the litter. All right. We can probably use the same color for the straps. Yeah, 10 halberdiers, and then it doesn't tell you how they're mounted in there. There's no way it can be in a tower. I mean, I know Asians are small, but they're not that small. So I would like to be able to get to the Renaissance stuff, but I don't know if I ever will. Like I said, I don't want to. I think the last version was kind of half-assed. It was half-assed in the sense that we needed something that worked, that we didn't change anything. So knights basically would interact with each other the same way as they did, whether it was 3000 BC or 1500. They would interact with, say, Light Horse the same way. And I do not want to, that will not be, if I do something, it won't be the case. You know, you're going to have knights of different quality. You know, the French knights were just better than the Spanish ones. I mean, they just were. So, you know, they might get a +1 if they're in close combat or whatever with a charge or, you know, but you know, you can add more detail to combat, but you got to make the conforming easier. So, I got some ideas. We play tested maybe a dozen or so games, and I think we're on the right track, but not happening anytime soon. I don't want to do it wrong. I'd rather not do something than do it wrong. So we've got a horsetail, and we got a little bit of the javelin head. Let's go ahead and put that on there. Yeah, I'd rather not do something than do it wrong. It's really unsatisfying to do things without your whole heart. SS Camel Black, is it still around here? Yeah, it is. There it is. And who knows if that description's accurate? Might have just been some Chinaman who smoked a bowl and thought he saw 10 halberdiers. Who knows? It's just really annoying in ancients and medieval how much is like hearsay. We just don't know shit. Look at that. Having coffee, it's strong, and yawning. A story of my life. Reading up on the Ethiopian Adal War of 1529-53. No idea where to find minutes for the war, but the Ottomans and Portuguese got involved by providing support. Doesn't Eureka make Abyssinians? I think Eureka makes Abyssinians. Eureka Miniatures out of Australia. I think they do. Check that out. Maybe I'm wrong, but... I have a trouble reading about history that I'm not going to war game. I feel like I'm missing something. You know, if I'm doing a period that I can't participate in by wargaming, I'm like missing something. These are some fine miniatures, man. They've been around forever, too. These museum... They've got nice, deep cuts in the miniature. Oh, man. do you got left? The shield. Thought I'd put these guys on my Pinterest, but guess I had not. They've just done an image on them. Let's see if I can find it. I gotta go get some more coffee or I'm not gonna make it, and it's way too early to be going to bed. There were these reenactors I came across, and they had little designs painted on their shields that looked believably like Huns, because I think Huns are one of these that didn't leave a written language behind. So everything you know about them is just from one source, from one side. So seems kind of skewed, if you ask me. I'm not saying they were the good guys or anything like that, but you know, the truth's somewhere in the middle. All right, I'll be right back. Let me go get a coffee. A coffee. I thought I had saved this. I thought I had saved where it was, because it was some pretty simple designs. Is it me? I think those should work, yeah. Is it me having signal problems? No telling. Only one word of Hunnish survives. What is it, Will? By the way, I wanted to go by and say hi at Historicon. I think the author of Mortem et Gloriam was there, and I don't think I ever saw him play the game. So I wanted to see how that game played, or at least Pacto. But yeah, unless you were playing Art de la Guerre, there was basically not a whole. I mean, there was people playing Flames of War too, but I mean, as far as Ancients and Medieval, nobody was really playing any tournaments. I mean, Triumph had some folks. You know, they had probably twice as many people as we had. But then there was twice as many people, twice as many Mitch and Tonys there running stuff. So, you know. So it was a poor showing. We had an extremely poor showing. And I don't think Mortem et Gloriam was there. And, you know, I'd like to see it played. There's one thing I don't like about it, though. Right? I started watching one of his videos, and his videos are really good. Oh, I just realized computer's not plugged in. Let's fix that. Boy, we have no battery. And that's that you have to conform. You have to conform. The Hunnish word for sword, I forgot which. So only one word survives, and you forgot it. Now, I'm not playing another ancient system where you have to conform. So, I don't know what that means. That means if I don't play DBA, I'll play something that hasn't come out yet. How about that? No plans to jump ship anytime soon. I'm on a roll painting stuff, so we don't want to interrupt that. All right, let me try my crap. I don't want to leave the floor like a Christmas tree. Hello. I created a thing on the Huns, but I bet they're not in here. I came across it. It's probably a Google image search, no doubt. Let's try Hun cavalry. Although I don't think these people were mounted, the reenactors. Gosh, that's where I saved them. All right, let me do this. Let me go to... I wasn't expecting having this problem. Yeah, because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do on the shields. Then I came across it like, I'm going to do that. And they were really basic designs. But they weren't just like, putting in, in squares or something. It wasn't something medieval. It definitely was like Dark Age-ish. Very, very Dark Age-ish. Hell, I don't remember where it was. That sucks. That's a problem. Hey, it's not my time period. MEG conforming is optional. That's good. Exploring History Tabletop Miniatures. There's a long name. Welcome. Welcome by. Howard T. of Canada. Where were you? We needed you. We needed you at Historicon. You don't want a new system that uses lots of bases and lots of figures. I don't either. I'd rather paint lots of armies. I would rather paint lots of armies. All right, bear with me here for a second. Let me see if I, for some reason, put it on my phone. And of course, we're using the phone as a camera. I would have saved it on images. I should be able to see it pretty quick if this is where I put it. Gosh, I just don't remember what happened to it. Now, you know what? I'll look at it another time. We'll paint the other... Heard from John, Historicon had a poor turnout. It had poor turnout for everywhere. Not just for us. I mean, I had a great time, don't get me wrong. It just wasn't a good value. You go expecting A and you get Q. So I will not be running DBA at Historicon again. It's all, I did a whole lot of work. I don't mean finishing my army, just getting everything together for nobody to show up. So we're just going to focus on Florida, where we've got a core of a dozen people, and try to build that up. So doesn't mean I had a bad time. I had a great time. Actually, I don't know that I've ever had a better time at a convention. Just how I felt and stuff, I brought my pillow with me, so I didn't get a crick in my neck like at the last convention that we had here. I don't know that I have back issues, but I guess I'm used to having a really good pillow. So I brought that with me and had no issues. And the area that we gamed in was pretty bright. It wasn't as bright as I'm used to at home, but it was pretty bright. They put us in the middle of the room, and I was worried about maybe the noise level, but it actually worked out better. And I'm not too concerned. It could be a lot worse. What if we played Warhammer Ancients? I mean, nobody plays that. Or Armadi, nobody plays that. So, at least we're playing something that we can communicate with folks all over the world with, I mean, people in Australia play it. Well, we're not here, but at least we can talk about the same game that we both love. So I think that's an important thing to remember, not get discouraged by that. So, so we got everything done on this guy except the shield. We'll put him aside. And where's the other guy that we were painting? It's the other one that has the dark horse, right? Okay. Perfect. So let's see. We need a skin that's on this thing. So let's go ahead and do this one. Let's pretend this is like sheep or something. Trying to get too excited, folks. Just because I said sheep. Let's use a color like this one. Don't lose heart, to Canadians will return. Yeah. Just too difficult to travel this year. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a pain to drive like 15 hours one way and one way back. And the best thing was the filming. There's a lot of things that I realized it's good to include. I'm going to definitely film game stuff at our showdown here in Florida. Definitely. That was a lot of fun to do, and I think Mitch enjoyed it as well. I don't think he realized what he was in for, and he really enjoyed that. So that was a lot of fun. And doing the after action reports every day, definitely going forward doing that. That was fun. I wish we didn't have to do them so darn late, but that's just one of those things that, well, it just has to be, But I'm not going to run anything up there because it's not my responsibility. It's not our backyard. I mean, if there's folks within an hour of there, they should be the ones doing that. A couple of hours within Historicon, that's their responsibility to do it. Not my responsibility is in Orlando. So, anyhow, it is what it is. And I did a video of my after action, what I thought about it, so you can take a look at that if you want more inclination. There's a lot of good stuff that happened. Just really the turnout was low, but the turnout was low for everybody. I went into the game rooms and I didn't see that much activity. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want to play the other stuff. There's a lot of games that could have been really cool. I could totally see how people would miss them. Tucked away in corners, and several of the rooms kind of looked the same, Any thoughts to tournament themes at Huracan? Well, they're already submitted. I submitted mine today. We're gonna have a step. We're gonna have a tournament called Step Right Up. It's gonna be step armies, and we're gonna have a mounted theme where it's mounted armies, armies and enemies of Persia. So all the Persian lists: early Achaemenid, later Achaemenid, Sassanids, and Islamic Persians. Any of those armies plus any of their enemies. What else? Marty's running a 25 millimeter open, which I thought was actually a lot of fun. Not enough fun to paint 25 mils, but you know, if there's loners, I'll play. It was a lot of fun to play a game standing up and like roll dice like you're at a craps table. You know, that was a lot of fun. Don supposedly, and I say supposedly, you know, because he hasn't submitted his games yet, is going to be running a Sunday morning theme and also a big campaign game on Saturday. So we should have DBA in every session. The only thing we're going to change is because we had Marty wanting to run an event as well, along with Don running two. Mitch is not going to run a Learn How to Play DBA in session one. We're going to have a legitimate event in that one. So, you know, if you're looking forward to the How to Play DBA, well, I'm sorry, we did it for like 4 years straight, and you know, time to move on and do other events. So, but other than that, same thing as always. You know, same thing as always. I think the only thing I would do different is if Don cancels his games because he can't make it, I don't think I'm going to pick up the slack. I'll play other stuff. Other people need my enthusiasm in the stuff that they're playing. I will bring enthusiasm and inappropriate jokes and comments to their games. I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse, but I don't know. I go to game convention. I did the walk around. I didn't see a whole lot of games that I would have wanted to play, and maybe I'm just jumping to conclusions. But we have a lot of freaking fun. We have a lot of freaking fun when we play DBA, and I'm just saying because that's what we play. But we play other things that we have a lot of fun. We're animated, and we're out to have a good time. And I see some other people like their life is depending on this game, and I look at him and I'm like, this is like causing you stress. Why are you doing it? But we have a hell of a great time. So unless we're playing that American Civil War game that was Ironclads that they didn't let us shoot. Because at the beginning of the turn, we weren't an arc, and then we moved, and then we were an arc, but at the end of the turn, we weren't an arc again, so we didn't get to shoot. That's a broken game. That's a broken game that's no fun. So I don't care how nice your miniatures are. People have to be engaged. People don't have to win. They have to have a good time. And if you don't allow people to even play because of some weird mechanics in the rules, then I don't know. It's just funny how something like that happens the very first time you play something, and it's like, you know, it had to come up before, unless they just didn't play test this rule set. I don't remember what the rule set was, but didn't want me to ever play it again. The one time I played an American Civil War game and I have a bad experience. No, I got Mitch to play Confederates with me. I want to play Confederates. You do all the funny accents. Y'all gonna make me cry. What, playing the ACW? All right. We got that. Put a little bit of black here on here. Somebody asked me yesterday if I had any regrets about not buying something. The only regret I have, and is it a kind of a big one? Nah, it's not kind of a big one because this is kind of my first filming experience out in the open. I'm not a media guy. It's not like all of a sudden I want to, turn into some big media person. But I would have liked to have gone to some of the vendors that had cool products and talked to them on video about, tell me about your stuff. And not everybody, but, like the guys at Huge Miniatures, I would have liked to have them, they had some pretty cool tufts I'd never seen before. Tell me about your company, to see that, I wish I would have planned that out, so. That's great that you have perspective. My headstone is not going to mention my hobbies or my employment. I think I know what you're saying, but I think, yeah, I don't like talking about my employment. A lot of people are defined by what they do for a living. I'm not. That doesn't mean I don't want to do a good job while I'm there, but maybe if I was a history teacher, I would be more defined by what I do for a living, but then maybe I have more of a problem making a living, but I've heard stories, so I don't know whether or not they're true, but I'm not defined by what I do. And fortunately, I don't really think about the place while I'm not there. That maintains my sanity because it's a pretty frustrating field and has been for a long time. I'm on year 29 there. So, but no, I'm not defined by what I do for a living, nor do I want to be. So, I'm defined by this, really. Among other things, this is what I enjoy doing. And if you mean by headstone, yeah, I'm not going to stress out by this where it's going to kill me, Too many things, people take things way too seriously. Yep. It's not that as much as too many people want to argue like their charisma, like they have a 37 charisma and they're going to be able to change the world. I am definitely opinionated about things. And, I'm not going to have a conversation with somebody and they're going to convince me that, communists really are nice folks. It just isn't going to happen. And, there's just some things that I don't really I don't care if people change their opinion of how they feel about things. People have a right to think however they want. And I don't feel like I have to go out and change their opinion. And a lot of people are just like on this crusade of, I'm going to I'm going to get people to think differently than me. And it's like, why bother, Let's focus on the stuff that we have in common, not our differences. Let's not be like the media. Let's focus on the stuff that, we have. So I don't like to talk about politics with people that I game with because I may enjoy gaming with somebody immensely. And then I find out that they're a communist and then, I don't enjoy them anymore. That they're an ist. There's so many bad ists, Cons are probably good for DBMM. Not in the United States. I don't think there's too many people playing that. I'd love to play it if somebody would run the game, but I'm just not. I'm not going to learn another one of Phil Barker's rules. And it's not because he's not a genius, because I think the world of him. I mean, I think he's a really sharp guy. But what did I deserve to be tortured by trying to push his rules onto people that can't understand them? Because I can't understand them sometimes either. What'd I do wrong? So This is the hardest set of rules I've ever had to learn how to play, ever. And that's more than Advanced Squad Leader, Sea Krieg, anything. They are really, really abstract. I'm not an abstract thinker. You know, maybe somebody who's really good at Algebra 2 would do really well with this. You know? Now, this guy's slightly different than this one on purpose. Pants. We don't want them too fancy. Let's go a light color on the pants and a darker color on the shirt. I've seen guys with a red shirt. We're probably going to do a red shirt on this guy and maybe make it a little bit burnt. A burnt red shirt. I think these guys had problems washing. Wasn't there really their thing? Don't ever read WRG7. Nope. It's a shame because I think he's a really wise guy. He's a sharp guy, but you could come up with the best rules in the world, okay? But if they're formatted in a way that most people can't understand them and are going to play them wrong, then they're not really appreciating your genius because you're not getting your word out, you know? It's like if everybody misinterprets what I say, then people aren't really understanding what I'm saying. So, and he's a really smart guy, and you know, and the rules seem real simple, but there's all kinds of different levels of flavor, and maybe that's why we've been playing them as long as we have, because we've gotten to the flavor, you know, and they're tasty, you know, but. Man, it is an acquired taste. I remember this one guy a while ago. He's like, you know, I can't figure out the army list. And I'm like, dude, the army list makes sense. You know, it's actually not the wording of the rules. It's how they're organized. You know, if they were organized with bullet points and stuff like that, you know, first you do this, then you do that, or maybe a flow chart or something like that. But it's kind of an overwhelming task, to be honest with you. But we love them. What are we going to do? You have a DBMM and all 4 of the list books. I do too. My roommate and I have played a few games. The rules seem to work well, but I was not a fan of the rule presentation. Yep. Yeah, it's just makes my head hurt. And I'm wondering, am I doing this right? Makes you wonder. Nobody wants to play. Well, I don't want to play the rules wrong. Maybe there's some people that want to play the rules wrong to see what they can get away with. But that's some dishonorable shit. That's pistols at 10 paces territory. Playing things on purpose wrong to see what you can get away with. So half of this army is going to be, I'm delighted to have ordered them. Half of this army is going to be forged in battle. I've never painted any forged in battle. I've seen pictures of them, and they just look really, really cool. So I ordered the 1 pack of their medium cavalry, and then the mixed weapons, and then the bows for the light horse. So that's why I pulled these 8 guys. We're going to mix these 8 guys with the other ones, and I don't know how long it's going to take for them to get here. It could be a while, but I got stuff to work on. So until I'm done with all these, then we'll paint cab. They'll show up eventually. They'll show up eventually. I'm not too worried about it. It's not like, I'm going to not get these guys done. I'm not going to start working on them until I have all the figures. Well, I may waste 2 weeks, and honestly, I'm going to be cutting it pretty close to get these guys done by the convention. You've seen it played on YouTube. Well, we'd probably like it if we could figure out how to play it right. I just don't have it in me anymore. So I ended up getting the army list just so I can get more details out of the armies that I'm painting for DBA. And also some ideas that what the capabilities of the troops are for maybe some historical battles that we'll do, but I don't have any intention of ever playing DBMM. No plans on doing that. This is the same reason I got several of the Warhammer Ancients books. I never plan on playing Warhammer Ancients, you know. DBA was revolutionary in 2000, however, the writing style is too technical and indirect. There's so many new ancient rules that offer these days. The advent of Triumph split the DBA population. Yeah, I don't think that there's that many people playing Triumph, though. I mean, there is at Historicon, because that's their home ground. It's like, it's like if you went and tried to put Triumph on in Gainesville, Florida, you're not going to get any Triumph players, because we play DBA here. And to be honest with you, we planned on playing Triumph at Historicon, Mitch and I. And then 2 years in a row, they changed it literally significantly the second time, a week before Historicon. Because we're like, the people in Florida didn't want to play Triumph. So we're like, all right, we'll play DBA 3.0 here, and we'll play Triumph up there, with those guys that we've known for years. So what happens is you figure out how to play at Historicon. Okay, so you figure it out. Well, then you got to come back here and switch to 3.0 and not get things wrong and run a couple of conventions and hopefully you don't get things wrong. And then before you go back to Historicon, you got to learn how to play Triumph again that you haven't played in almost a year. And after we did that, a week before, they went and made a significant change. I'm like, we can't keep doing this. We're going insane. We're going insane. So if we're going to go to Historicon, we'll just run DBA up there and see who plays it. And that way we don't have to relearn how to do things. Because the last thing we need to do is come back here and then end up doing the stuff we've been doing right for a while, end up doing it wrong. So, And now there's 8 Art de la Guerre. Well, I'll never play it. It's just too many troops. So... it's the mechanics that are different. And I don't think it's any better than DBA. DBA is better. It's got some cool things in it. It's got but it has some, DBA has some, 3.0 has some things it doesn't have. And I think on the onset, I would rather play a game system that's played all over the world than one that's just played in a little area. So... DBA is now static. Thank heavens. Yep. Yeah, and later down the line, if I ever decide to play something else, it'll be with these same armies. I hope. I don't want to rebase things, and I don't mind adding other elements to it. Like, hey, now you can have this along with the other troops. I don't mind that. But I don't want to change everything around. And maybe someday we'll decide to do something of our own, but it won't use different army lists. It'll be the same army list. Just, hey, you still have to buy DBA 3.0. Army lists are in there, kind of thing. But, I'm not on a crusade. That's not my whole purpose in life. I want to just paint armies and have fun, learn about history, and have a good time and stuff like that. So, besides, if I did something, it'd be free. So it's not like, oh, I got to make money off of it. Nah. The community is important too. It's important to go and get excited about a project, and you can talk to people all over the world, and they'll ask you, hey, what figures did you use for this? And that's what gets me going. Not all the other details, You may play the best game in the world, but if there's nobody to play with, what good does it do you? You do wish the basing was just a tad bigger to make the fitting figures easier. Well, I'm okay with that. I don't like the idea of basing solid auxiliary and blades on the same stand, because you're basically making them the same. So make them different. If they fight different, they should be based differently. Did I ever look at impetus? Nah, I didn't get around to it. I got the rules. I bought them. I printed them out. They're gorgeous. My heart's not there. It's going to detract from doing this. It's almost easier. I'm not almost. It's easier just to make your own rule set than learn another one. Because the advantage of making your own rule set is, one of the priorities in making the rule set would be to be easy to teach to people, which DBA 3.0 is not. All the systems are not. It needs to be real easy, like a flow chart. You do this, then you do this, then you do that, bullet points, not like hidden in sentences and, because, people are going to need to learn how to play the game, and I don't mind teaching somebody how to play the game if they have the interest in sticking around. My big advantage, the big reason I like tournaments is not because I'm a tournament player, because I never was before I played this. I never played in a tournament before. It's that I don't want to waste an hour and a half, let's just say half of the game session, everybody having the rules explained to them, and 90% of those people are not going to come back and play a game again. So why should the game master waste their time trying to teach these rules to people you're never going to see again? It's just not a good value. Kind of like, remember that scene in I think it was a Band of Brothers, where the veteran soldiers didn't even want to know the names of the replacements because they weren't going to make it, And yeah, it's being cynical, but there's got to be some kind of a balance. So the game's got to be easier to pick up for new people, so that if you do end up wasting your time, you didn't waste a freaking half the game session explaining the rules to somebody. So, I've had a few people that, maybe 5-6 people that have learned DBA after I have, that were willing to put in the time. And I will teach you every freaking single thing I know, because I want to make you as good a player as you can, so that I'm challenged, so that, I can go somewhere and I don't have to overthink things. I can just worry about what I'm going to do with the die roll. So yes, it's for my own purposes, but I will, if you're willing to show up, I will invest time in you, But, that's one of the things that is so great about DBAs. With pretty much everybody that plays has kind of an understanding. We just start rolling dice, have a good time, and laugh about things that happen, when I come up with them. Well, I probably have to retire first, to be honest with you. But they'll be awesome if I ever do. They have to be. They would have to be, or otherwise why do it? And they would give credit to the people that I got ideas from. I don't like this whole, let me take somebody else's work and not even give them credit. It goes against every fiber of my being, Maybe if the author was a communist, okay? I still wouldn't do it. I just still wouldn't do it. That's just not how I'm programmed, You got to give people credit. So, and I guess that's a common thing, people to lift other people's ideas and not even say, hey, we were inspired by this one person, so we decided to take their great ideas and kind of gear them towards maybe what we wanted to do with them. But you got to give people credit, I don't know. I may have a different way of looking at it than most people. I don't think so. So, and I think what you do with things makes a big difference. These people that play, and I don't poo-poo people for playing games, because the reason I play DBAs, people were there playing DBA. I showed up to play Armati, okay? And, but there's a problem. We have 40K tournaments, can only play 2 or 3 turns and time limit when playing beginner. Yeah. Yeah, who wants to play an unfinished game? Who wants to play an unfinished game? I certainly don't want to. But, if you play Art de la Guerre, that's fine. But Art de la Guerre has a thing in there about brilliant generals or something like that, just like DVMM has, right? And the brilliant generals in Art de la Guerre are the same brilliant generals that are in DVMM. Like, they didn't even add any. They didn't, take guys out. I mean, it just doesn't look good, So, now, with that said, it probably wouldn't keep me from playing it if everybody in my area played it, but I'd probably feel dirty about it. It's just the wrong thing to do. Like, how'd the guy not get sued, But, oh well. It is what it is. I don't want anybody to get sued. Only the lawyers make money, and, they're out to complicate things for all of us. I don't think I want to use this color. I don't think I want to use this color after all, because it's going to be too close to the... maybe if I bring it up to the top, it'll be okay. All right, let's go in. This isn't my first rodeo. I can paint my way out of this one. To the strongest, might of arms. To the strongest looked like it had potential because it had a push your luck mechanism, which I like. However, it's on squares. And that's a step backwards, I think, because I don't have much of a gripe of DBA. I really don't. Is it perfect? No. But it makes a good game, and I just wish something that would feel like you're playing Light Horse. And, the geometry in it, you feel like you're playing some kind of a geometric game. I wouldn't say chess, because I wouldn't play chess. I absolutely detest chess. I'm not programmed for it. But, something like that. And squares is the same thing. I've played what's the computer game? Field of Glory. And it doesn't feel right with the squares and stuff. But, it is what it is. It's a game at the end of the day, and it motivates you to read about history, that things that really happened, and participate and have a good time with other folks and that. I've played Lion Rampant. I think Lion Rampant is a great game. I think you could probably play Lion Rampant with these same stands. I've played it 3 times, I think. Somebody else running it. Had a good time. Yeah, I'm not a tournament player. You know what I like about tournaments? I almost stopped running games. Well, I actually did. I stopped running games at shows because I had to supply all the stuff, and then I was worried about people breaking my shit. You run a show and you don't know who's going to show up to play. You're going to get that one random guy that's likes to destroy things. And it just became stressful. It became stressful for me to worry about, are my guys going to make it home? Are any going to come up missing? I've actually had that happen before. I entered a painting contest one time at a local show they had in town, and one of my 20mm Germans is gone. And so I don't want to go back to supplying all the figures for people. And there's a pretty good opportunity in DBA of your other opponent never touching your folks, your figures. So you don't have to worry about them damaging them. And it's an opportunity to play with your own things. The fact that it's competitive, I'm going to be competitive anyways, even if I'm playing a game that's not a competition game. That's just the way I are. That's the way I are. Nice. It's the way we are. We like to play hard, but, it's not because we got to win prizes or we got to get respect. I don't give a shit about none of that stuff, I've won enough games and lost enough games, and neither one of them really means anything. I mean, I like to talk about it. I like to razz my opponents, like, hey, you're gonna let me beat you one more time? But it's just, friendly razzing, But I'm not like, man, we got to win this tournament so I can win some prizes. What do I need prizes for? What, more shit to paint? So I'd never played a tournament game of any kind before this. Lion Rampant. I think it's pretty cool. The only thing I don't like about it, and it's really easy to fix, I don't like the fact that units are really inflexible in how many figures they have. I think foot has to have, cavalry has to have 6, and foot has to have 8 or 12 or something like that. I'm like, why can't it have 13? Why can't one unit have 11 in it? If you're not playing for points, then I don't think it matters, Rick. But I don't like that inflexibility. Everything else I really liked about it. I like the push your luck mechanic. Am I going to activate somebody that's really easy, but it's not really the guy that I'm interested in? Or should I, make sure that I get the guy that's important? Or likewise, hey, should I activate the guys that are super easy to do, and to try to activate as many as I can, or you could botch a roll and none of them get activated. So that the game within the game is, I like it. I like variables. I just don't like excessive planning, and because when you do a lot of planning and the dice are going to do what dice do, which frequently is leave you hanging, then you don't feel like you've invested any time or effort in doing that extra planning for the dice misbehaving. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's pretty important to me because I have a job where I got to do a shitload of planning, and not a shitload, but a lot of planning with interruptions, and then stuff goes sideways, and then you got to stop new things from coming in. You need to fix the things that they change without new stuff coming in. So it's frustrating. It brings back memories of worky stuff. And I'm not happy with that. Let me get some ice for this, and so I can pour the Coke in, and I'll be right back. I'm intrigued by the armor mechanic, where if a unit armor is 4, it means when you attack it, every 4 wounds you do to it causes a casualty. It actually works really well. It looks really simple, but it actually works really well. Like if something is armor 3 and you get 5 hits, it's still only 1 casualty. Yeah. It actually works really well. And it's lots of... The thing that makes a good game is a couple things. 3 things. Let me hope I don't have them written down, so... one of the things is that you have lots of different ways of skinning a cat. Not like, well, I'm going to go up and shoot, or, if it's kind of obvious what you have to do, I find it really boring. You have meaningful decisions to make every turn. That's one thing that's important, so that people are engaged. Not like, all right, it's your turn. Call me. I'm going to go make some coffee, and call me in like 45 minutes, and I'll come back over. Roll their dice, and then they leave again. That's not a very engaged player. The other thing is, make sure everybody knows what is going on. Like, everybody knows what's happening in DBA. Your dumbasses just don't listen to you because you have this pip mechanism, And so you get a full view of everything that's going on the whole time. Just your folks don't understand you. And the pre-measuring does that. I think having a game where pre-measuring is allowed. I've never played a game where you pre-measure before, and it saves so much angst. And now I don't remember what the third thing is. Opposing rolls. Okay? Like anytime one side rolls a die, the other side rolls one too. So the one's just as involved as the other one. Like, you can't whoop somebody's ass without the other person having a say in it, So those things where it's like, it's a hit and you just take it is kind of boring, And we've all played those games before where one guy's rolling dice and the other guy's just taking it, So if you get a save type mechanism or something like that, or an opposing roll, that works, And all of those things, I had never played a game that did all of those things before DBA. So it's not that DBA is awesome in and of itself. It's that you're so involved in it. You're just as involved in it as the other guy. So, okay, Howard, I'm sure they will cross again. Sorry, didn't get to see you last week, but it happens. It happens. So, don't take this the wrong way, but I'd rather not see you last week, and you come on and we can interact like this. I would rather not go to a convention again. What was it I used to say? I'd rather not go to Europe ever, but be able to communicate with people from Europe over the internet. I think it's more useful that way, Because if I go to Europe, what am I going to do? Go twice for 1 week each time? I mean, how much am I really going to see, So I think this is better. I'm glad that the technology is advanced to the point where we can have meaningful discussions across the pond and, up and down the East Coast, etc. I think so anyways. Oh, that was bad. I don't want to flip that thing over. We don't need to buy another computer. All right, let's put these little bronze thingies on the horse. But I could have gone to Historicon, not played any games, and still had a good time. It just wouldn't be a good value. You know, it's not a smart decision. But just hanging out with folks, that's what I wanted to do. So yeah, I enjoyed the couple of games of Pig Wars that I played. I said Pig Wars. I did enjoy. I've played 3 games of Pig Wars. I enjoy that game as well. I just don't want to be the one putting it on, supplying all those figures, doing all that painting, so forth, and then have to worry about, are these barbarians going to damage? They're going to ham fist all my figures and damaging them. You just finished watching the haul recap video. Okay. Well, now you know how I really feel. I don't like to mince words. I'm not afraid of saying what's on my mind. And I like doing videos. You know, there's other people out there. The Little Wars guys. I mean, nobody does better videos than the Little Wars guys. But I've edited videos, and I know how much effort goes into that. Could I do as good a job as them? Probably not. Could I get close? Yeah. But then I'm not going to be painting stuff. And I'm all about painting things. So, yeah, the win-loss record's crazy. Yeah, the win-loss record's crazy. I swear he's blowing the devil. And doing a good job. Him and those damn red Chinese. Sons of bitches. Because I actually did really well. I did better than probably most of the time. Dracula showed up, and he whooped ass. The Pope whooped ass. My Nan Chow, which were the Bamboo Freight Train, they didn't win a single game, so that kind of put me in the hole. And the Byzantines definitely were positive, but he rolled out of his ass for sure. So, yeah, it's part of the game. I wouldn't play the game if it didn't have any luck in it. You know? But he better watch out, because he's going to have to do videos if he gets ahead of me. And he ain't got a clue. He's a fun guy, but he's not a technology dude. He's even less of a technology dude than I am, and that's saying a lot. Because I'm into technology if it's easy to use. Okay, like it should be easy to edit a video, and it is. I edit them on my phone, and they're pretty easy to do. I don't edit them more because it'll tie up my phone a long time, and I can't do anything with it. But editing videos is pretty easy to do. You don't need to use, what's that thing called? DaVinci Resolve. That's like making commercials for NBC, man. None of us need to be doing that kind of stuff. But anyhow, so yeah, I did the walk around video, and I think the Little Wars guys weren't expected to be in somebody else's video, but they got nothing to worry about with me. I'm not going to put stuff on there and make them look like idiots. I film what I see. I want things to be real, not, magically altered, I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot, but, I just figured it'd be cool to, and it's also cool for me to go back maybe a couple years later and go, now what was that game that I saw? You can go back and see it. I don't want to catch somebody saying the F-bomb when they're not supposed to. That's not what, that's not what I'm all about. And I knew that with the turnout being poor, I figured there'd be a lot of people that would want to see what was going on. It was a lot of fun to do. That was a lot of fun to do. So we'll be doing that. Now, unfortunately, my gimbal didn't work. And hopefully I'll be able to get it working by the next con, but you never know. It was working, and the app that works with it is discontinued, and I don't really know what the backstory is. I'm going to have to do some internet searches and find out what it is I need to do. But I found out it wasn't going to work while I was packing at 10 p.m. the night before. So that was the wrong time to spend 3 or 4 hours working on it, or I would have gotten no sleep for the drive. So it honestly worked really well considering I was just holding it with my hand. But man, my hand was freaking tired. I was really tired of doing, this the whole time. But it's totally unedited. I mean, I may have paused at one time. We just went from room to room. I wanted to show you guys how long it took to get from one place to the other, and it was kind of confusing what room we were in. They all kind of looked the same. Up on that second level, everything looked the same. I'm not used to getting confused where I am. Directions and stuff like that's one of the few things I'm good at, so. Yeah, I'm not afraid of mincing words, which sometimes gets me into trouble at work. But you know what? I never get in trouble for lying. When you tell the truth, it's easy to keep your lies straight. You don't have any. I'm the anti-sales weasel. So yeah, I'm going to plug along painting Huns till the other guys show up. We'll do an unboxing on them. And then we'll mix them up. Well, I got 8 of these guys, so 8 of the other guys. That's 8 stands of these for sure. I said it was great. Too many walkthrough videos do jump cuts to the next room. And it's like, well, how did we get here? It doesn't give you a sense of spatial understanding. Yours did. When see close-up of Mitch's new armies. When we film them, it might be a little while. We got a problem now. We got the opposite problem in Historicon. We go and we have too many players. So here's the deal I'm going to make with you. Next time we go to play over at Mitch's place, if too many people show up, I will at least do a video of his armies. How about that? Even though you're not going to see the games, because anything more than 4 people, it's just too many people. It's just too noisy. When you have 4 people playing, that's 2 people that are playing and 2 people that are idle. Well, the 2 people that are idle aren't just going to sit there and be quiet. We're social animals. We're going to talk to each other. So that creates a lot of background information. It is a social event. But now if you had 5 people, now you got 3 people not playing, causing chaos, and 2 people play. It's just too much. That plus the freaking air conditioners that we have to run all the time. It is so blazing freaking hot. So that's the opposite of Storicon. We have too many people that show up. And that's not to say, hey, we need to not have people show up. It's a reality that, we're not going to be able to film every single time we play. But if we don't film, I'll still do we'll do a close-up of Mitch's armies. We'll try to do that. So I've been so busy, I haven't even posted pictures of my Byzantines either. I don't think, I can't remember. I can't remember anymore. So the opposite problem of Historicon. Not enough people showed up there, and we have too many people show up at the house. All right. Let's get this javelin on here. My goal tonight, before I go to bed, is to find those pictures of the Huns, so I could finish this one guy. And this guy will be ready for his shield soon too. So I know that it was a treasure trove. I found it. I'm like, oh, this is going to be real. And of course, I don't know where the hell it is. But I found it without any trouble, so I should be able to find where it was. I just don't remember if it was on the computer or... I bet it's on my history if it's on the computer. Let's not. You know what? It's almost 10. Let me see if I can find that real quick, and then we're gonna call it a night. Maybe start a con at Mitch's place. Hell no, it's too small. It's too freaking hot. It is too goddamn hot at his place. Way too hot. I'm hot all the time at work. He works in a cooler. I don't like sitting around not doing anything and sweltering. You know, if you're out mowing a lawn, you don't mind. But just sweltering, just sitting there, that's stupid. Let's see if I can check my history. So I want to show you guys these because it's some cool little... and that's assuming I did it here on my computer. Okay, this is today. Hunnick reenactors. Did I get any traction off that? Found them. Found them. We're going to visit this page. Make sure this is the page. Oh yeah. Perfect. And then we're going to put a little star. Done. Don't have to look that again. It's on iStock. It's on iStock. And let me show you this little shield to see what I have in mind. The shields are going to be basically one color. And let's see, is that the shield that I want to show you guys? Because it's kind of a... Alright. Save image as... Yeah, we'll save it in the Byzantine shield folder. I don't need to create another folder for it right this second. And let me go in here and I'll show you guys on the screen what we got. No hobby shops with table for gaming nearby. No hobby shops. We just have game shops, and you know, they're a bunch of stinky people that play Warhammer 40K. We've tried to put on a couple shows and doesn't really do anything. We don't really need any local players. Believe it or not. The problem is Mitch's schedule's so damn weird. It's so damn weird. And, you know, and, oh, this is cool. Let's do one of these. Oh, I'm hiding the person. You got a subscriber, Christian Hauser. Thank you for subscribing. Hadn't seen one of these in a while. Let's do it again. It's a little dinosaur jumping up and down. There we go. Happy Dino. So let me show you guys a picture of this, what I'm talking about, what these shields are going to look like. And not some of them will probably be plain. Maybe some of them will look like they're made out of hide. I love doing stuff like that. So let's go over here, and I believe this is the one that we're using right now. Nope. Background webcam alert box. What is this one? This is the one that I'm calling that. Okay, got it. So let's go right click on here and we will do properties and we'll browse and I will show you what some Hun shield designs look reasonably like or seem to be okay. And done. And I found this off of iPhoto. So I'm not going to quarter them. I think that looks a little hokey, but you know, that's some symbols right there. You know, that's some symbols right there. Seem reasonable. So I will probably, you know what? F it. Let's paint. Let's finish this guy up. Okay. Let's finish this guy up. It's not going to take long. Good golly. Yeah, this thing seals up well. All right. We're going to make this one leather. Okay? And dark brown, because these are simple people. These are simple people. Okay? So let's take this brown, which should be alive-ish. Add some black. Is that Germanic? It's supposedly Huns. Hunnic. It's Hunnic reenactors. Again, looks good on paper. But we're not going to quarter it because that looks too Germanic. Okay, we'll come in and highlight it some. Now we got to use a smaller brush because this one's just not going to get the job done. So we'll do one of these. Still have white. The Sarmatians had symbols like those called Tamga. That the new palette my brother got me, yeah, it kicks ass. It's better. It's definitely better. It doesn't curl up as much. The paper's still weird, okay? But it's better. Let's get some white on here. You know what? We can do better than this. We can do a smaller. Right off the bat, first thing I got to do is I got to trim the little fluff off the end. Just so we'll do on the blue so I can see a little bit better. That's it. Yeah, I'm buying no $20 brush. All right, which one we got to do? Not the trident, it's a little too Greek. We're going to do that little A with a thing between it. The one that's in the bottom right here and there. I'm willing to doing all of them. I just don't want to do the other ones right now. So let's come in with a little bit of black. So we'll darken this a little bit. Oh, I guess I got to get my stupid face out of the way, don't I? All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, let's take a look at this A. Right. It curls up on the edge both sides. Right. Okay. Here goes everything. This is easy as shit to fix, so. Now, of course, we're going to clean that up. Remember, this is simple people, and they probably had really shitty brushes. Just a guess. If I don't have Winsor and Newton brushes, these assholes sure didn't have them. It's too small. Come on, paint. Let's flow right. This is literally the easiest thing I've ever had to paint on a shield. That's catching. Perfect. Now, let's not waste this thing. Let's take the same color. Let's look at this color here. And add some white to it. Let's add a little bit more white to it. You got to give these guys personality and not just throw shit on there like, they're simple people, just give a dark brown wash. I'm not going to be happy with that. We're going to make these guys look interesting, just like we did the Irish. The Irish are a hoot to play, and they have a shitload of character. Win or lose. And I did forget the bow. There's a bow stuffed in here. Just the top of it. Oh, and of course we got to paint hooves on this guy. Oh, F that. We'll do that tomorrow. So here he is. Can we get more light on here? Yeah. I think these guys are gonna now let me look at them. These guys are gonna look great. This is gonna be a good looking army. Just wait till we do some tufts on there. There's some Winsor Newton brushes. They're very nice, work well, but honestly not that noticeable difference painting 15 mil. Better for bigger scale stuff. When I did your Greek shields, used fine ink pens from the hobby store. Other issues when you finally damage an expensive brush, it's hard to take. Exactly. Yeah, I don't need that stress in my life. So, anyhow, that is, let's try doing this. Let's try doing this because this seems to work pretty well. All right, let's move him to where we can see him. Again, he doesn't come out great on the video. It just doesn't look the same as, we still have to do his hooves. But this is an old gladiator figure, and they paint up really well. Here's the other guys, just so you can see the color differentiation between them. You know, they might have like one article of clothing that's bright, but other than that, they're pretty much just wearing whatever they have up on the steps. But as always, we're going to try to do these guys proud, even though they're destructive little bastards. I don't know, maybe I'll enjoy doing these so much I'll do Mongols next. I won't do them next. So, but anyhow, that is the little drawing that I have, so we're going to use that for going forward, and give you some ideas. Look up Tamga on Wikipedia, get some ideas there. I'm going to do that tonight. How about that?